if you want.
Yeah, okay. It's Amy Shapiro, Esswein, and I'm 37 years old. As a kid, I was always doing visual art, and then I got into music when I was about probably 9 or 10 years old. I played the cello first, and then when I was 13, for the first time, I saw a girl my age playing the drums, and I realized, like, wow, that's actually a possibility. I could do that. With drums, it was so like over the top big and physical, and I think I've always been kind of like a smaller person, and kind of quiet and shy, I guess. So I think drumming, it really appealed to me. It reminded me kind of like dance, and was just really impactful, I guess. And then I kind of got into like marching band right away. So I think the kind of technical and the showmanship about it was also very appealing. I liked how structured it was. I was playing with some other people in my grade, and then that was a little more kind of straightforward rock. And then my sister, who is 2 years younger than me, Emily, she is more of a natural performer than I am. At first it was just the two of us, and it was her playing guitar and like screaming, and just me in the back just like playing really simple and loud and just like very obnoxious. But it did become a full band. At one point we had 5 members, so it was 2 guitars, vocals, bass, and drums. And we were really drawn to some of the bands we were discovering, both through like the Riot Girl scene in DC, and then also just bands we were finding at the local record store, like Babes in Toyland, Red Ants, the Lunatics. So bands that kind of had this very aggressive, and like very unapologetically feminine, but also kind of like dirty or kind of like gross or, grotesque kind of feel. So the first bands I ever did were with men in them, but it was definitely something about like getting into Riot Girl and then just seeing more women playing that really just like solidified it. And when you see it modeled, you're just like, wow, that's like something I can do. Yeah. And the whole scene at the time was very conducive to that. It was just like everyone was involved, everyone was setting up shows, everyone was making flyers, making zines, so it just felt like very inclusive to me.
It never felt like the boys' club?
I think we were really lucky that our particular kind of DC, suburban crossover scene, it really didn't have a very like machismo vibe to it, I didn't think. We had the support of like a lot of people around us. But I recognize that I think it was really a special kind of combination of where we were and the time that it was, which was like the early mid-90s. Yeah. So it was really coming off a very strong, like girls to the front, Riot Girl. I think, anytime there's a girl on stage, it's like people are gonna target that person a little bit more or want to criticize them for whatever reason. I'm still like kind of shocked that there aren't more female drummers, and definitely like, wow, you'd think it'd be just as common as any other instrument, but I think my favorite drumming is just very kind of basic, 4 on the floor, like holding that time and just like making a beat that you can dance to or you can move to. Mm-hmm. I really like my favorite drummer is Max Weinberg. I don't know, I guess, I saw him playing on Conan coming up, and then just listening to like Bruce Springsteen, and he's really good and he's very technical, but he doesn't really show off at all. And I love drumming that's like very emotional and stuff, but mostly I just want to have a good time. Like, it's not really about being the most technical. It's just kind of like being being in the pocket, I guess, and just having like a good rapport with the other people I'm playing with. Yeah, I think a lot about playing drums is like listening and knowing when to like, you know, kind of pull back. And the longest band I was in Tucson, a band called Blind Lord, I was like a good 10 years younger than all the other band members, so I was just trying to like, you know, be as, I don't know, just, I guess in a way like impress them. When you're playing like fast punk rock, it's like you're kind of limited, you're just trying to keep up, or I was, you know, and now it's like, wow, I really feel like I can relax into it more, which makes better drumming. That's the nice thing about getting older too. It's like less about trying to show all the things you can do and more just kind of like relaxing into yourself and relaxing into the music. When I started, I didn't know if I wanted to do like photojournalism or music or visual art. So I went to a college where I could like try all those things, and I ended up eventually getting out of photography and going into painting. So I have a degree in, I guess it's just a bachelor's in arts and in painting. I think I think you could say there's maybe a feminine look to it, but I try to always keep it with a little bit of an edge. Like I want it to feel sweet, but also like a little bit, have something like kind of sharp in there. It wasn't really something that I was looking for directly. I think just from being in music scenes in Virginia and DC, and then in Tucson, Arizona, where I had moved to do the MFA, I was just like aware of tattooing. Like, you know, there were, it all kind of went together. Like one band I was in DC practiced in the basement of a house where a guy who was a tattooer lived, you know, so it was all kind of intertwined. And I was getting tattoos in grad school and just kind of building a relationship with the shop where I was getting those. So after I finished my master's and I was kind of adjuncting here and there and just working other jobs too, started talking to the owner of that shop about what a tattoo apprenticeship would look like and if I'd ever thought about it. And I got into it about 11 years ago. So if you think about it, it was like before tattooing was on TV, and it was still like a very mysterious, like kind of closed world. So I really hadn't ever looked at that like as a career option. I just was aware that I liked tattoos and I was getting them, and they had always been a part of like music and being a punk and, you know.
Looking like a badass.
Yeah. I don't know. I think also comes back to like just kind of wanting to be different, just not being part of the mainstream.
Sure.
And not feeling like I fit in with the mainstream. And I think it maybe goes a little bit back to the quiet thing too, just kind of wearing tattoos almost as a means of like protection or to make yourself like less, I don't want to say less approachable, but like, I don't know, it just felt like, it does feel a little bit like armor sometimes.
I floated